Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. My name, of course, is Orbital Potato, and here we check out the latest and the greatest strategy games each and every day of the week. We have had our first ever glimpse of Cities Skylines 2 gameplay. That's right, a brand new trailer has just been released. We're checking it out, and I'm going through everything, any little bit that I can pick up on the stuff to expect, little things perhaps that you might have missed. We're gonna go over it all. But before we do, if indeed you're interested in this type of video and, strategy games in general, then do consider subscribing. The YouTube gremlins tell me that only 18% of you are subscribed, so why not subscribe for daily strategy videos? Right. This is the brand new trailer that was announced, and apparently all of this has been captured from within the game. So we're going to go through things, and we're going to see exactly what we have here. So this is our first glimpse of literally inside Cities Skylines 2. Up until this point, it was all purely cinematic visual renders. Nothing really that you could sort of gather with regards to what's actually inside the game. So let's have a little look. You can see that skyline in the background and all of the houses upgrading in the foreground. So immediately a pretty big emphasis on transportation. Those trains look pretty darn cool, and we're going to chat more about them in just a little bit. But for now, I mean, it looks fairly impressive. It looks fairly impressive. We are going to get to the user interface in just a second, and we're going to have a little look at that. But right, okay, okay. So this is perhaps a good place for us to start, given that it is the start of the video. This is what Cities Skylines 2 is going to look like, at least what this current build of Cities Skylines that they are exhibiting to us. Now, we've got quite a lot of stuff going on here. A couple of things that I want to point out, like, immediately. First of all, in the bottom left-hand corner over here, this looks to be like a different, brand new way of purchasing land. I'm not really sure what this is going to entail. Maybe if you get a certain amount of population, a certain number of points, you're able to expand your land and buy new bits rather than just having sort of like population milestones, as was the case in the first one. It also looks like sort of terraforming is going to be a bigger part. Maybe I'm reading into that a little bit too much, but given that this is the very first thing that the developers have elected to show us, I've got to imagine that sort of terraforming and land manipulation is going to be a little bit more important. There also seems to be, a few more basic tools to help sort of sculpt the land. We got megalopolis over here, which is quite cool. Can actually see the different industry types. We'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, we've got zoning. Looks like we've got districts, monuments, roads, electricity, water, health, recycling, education, fire services, police services, transport, parks, bunch of other stuff as well, demolition tool, terraforming, etc. I think that the big sort of difference between Cities Skylines 1 and Cities Skylines 2 is going to be transport. And again, we're gonna come back to that in a little bit. Looks like we got a little overall happiness meter down here and a whole bunch of other sort of buttons, stats and overlays and finance panels, that sort of stuff. So pretty similar to the original, pretty similar to the first one in terms of layout, in terms of presentation, maybe with the exception of those sort of points over there in the left-hand corner. I don't know. We'll have to see how that looks. Also, I guess this is sort of going to be like the milestone panel, how you unlock the unique buildings and stuff. I've got to imagine, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Now, okay, immediately on to the next frame. This is gonna be big. For an individual like myself who has very little creative energy when it comes to building cities, I like building the most efficient, most sterile city possible. This is going to be an absolute game changer. This is a very, very, very interesting little sort of grid-based system here, which looks like you're just going to be able to pop down like tons and tons of them. We've got a whole bunch of extra sort of like information with regards to width, length, etc. We've got the angles. There's a whole bunch of additional tools as well, snapping sort of tools. We've got a grid-based, as I say, brand new grid-based tool mode in addition, what looks like to all of the original tools over there as well. selecting different types of roads. It looks to me that there's going to be a heck of a lot more roads and actually a heck of a lot more content available in the base game as opposed to the first base game. It took quite a lot of DLC updates to get quite a lot of content into the game, and I'll specifically reference a couple of instances, but it looks like there's going to be sort of a lot more content in the game sort of from the get-go. Also, we've still got that Chippy, whatever the silly little bird. I always turn the bird off, but the bird is still around apparently. The mascot for City Skylines. Anyway, yeah, very, very, very cool with regards to road manipulation. We can see all of the routing, we can see all of the turning. What I am really, really hoping for is that we have a little bit more sort of complex simulation with regards to traffic and driving. The first game, you know, you have pretty severe limitations with regards to the way that cars operate. But look at this. Look at this. This honestly feels very, very fresh, very, very new. Look at all of the sort of complexity here, the visual complexity that we've got going on. I mean, not only do we have the incredible sort of sweeping arch, which honestly looked, there we go. If we take it back just a few frames, it looked like it's going to be much easier to build more complicated structures. I'm not saying that City Skylines 1 was particularly fiddly, but it took a little bit of finessing to sort of get the right roads in the right places. We've also got these lovely little sound barriers here. It looks like we've got an underground road that runs under there to somewhere over here, is it, I guess? We've also got this train line that runs underneath the overpass, which I think is pretty darn cool. And again, just showcasing, look at how many different types of roads, look at how many different types of buildings are going to be available sort of straight from the get-go. Also, keep your eye on this. Keep your eye on the demand little graphs over here. That is something to note. But yeah, there's also some little modifiers here, which I guess indicates that there is an overlap issue over there. And I guess I don't know what that could possibly be. Is that maybe like a little risk, like a little, you know, there's no road here. We're gonna have to put a barrier up. I don't know. We're gonna have to see what goes on there. But yeah, right. Let's move forward. See what else we've got. Bridges, big bridges, double bridges. We have the ability now to build parallel bridges in seconds. Look at that. Really, really, really cool. This is gonna make designing highways, you know, slipways, a whole heck of a lot easier. And it looks like you select the bridges. You can select the bridge literally from the build menu, which is again, you know, slightly different from the original first one. And it looks like whoever's playing this is doing a stellar job of keeping the entirety of the population happy. A little bit of power infrastructure over there in the background. We're going to get to power infrastructure in just a sec, but bridges definitely very, very cool. Now, this is an area that I would like to chat a little bit about, and it is important for a variety of reasons. Let me get the frame that I really wanted. This is fine. So, this is going to be, I guess, my first example of what you can expect in the base game in relation to the base game of the first one. Now, the university, or universities in the first game, specifically the universities that you're able to add, you know, extensions and add a whole bunch of extra buildings, they came as an additional bit of DLC. That DLC didn't come for quite a long time, actually. It was a good couple of years, if I can recall. Either way, it looks like you're now going to be able to build universities sort of straight from the get-go. You're going to be able to get complicated universities. You're going to be able to build extensions. You know, you're going to be able to build universities exactly as you're able to build in the first one, sort of from the get-go. At least that is my sort of suspicion. And it looks like everything is sort of presented in a much more visually appealing way. Whether or not the universities still work in the same way, where you have to unlock different sort of bits and bobs, different university buildings by getting more students, etc. I guess we will have to wait and see. But for now, this is looking very, very promising, and also just, you know, a moment to admire the sort of fidelity of these buildings. You know, I'm not one for scrutinizing, you know, polygon counts or whatever it is, but this looks like a very, very nice building. This looks like a nice building, and you know, I don't know much about buildings, but it looks nice. It looks very, very nice indeed. So yeah, very, very cool. So this is another area that I think is really, really going to get a lot of attention in this game, and that is transportation systems. And in fact, if we go forward just a little bit, we can actually see much more accurately how the transport system in this game is going to be represented. Now, I wasn't a huge fan of the transportation system in the first game. It never sort of felt like you were able to control it in the way that it was meaningful to your city. Maybe that was just my experience, but certainly what I'm hoping for in City Skylines 2 is that we have a little bit more focus on transportation, and it looks like that's the case. We've got a visual representation of the line down the left-hand side of the screen here. That's cool. But hopefully, again, you know, going back to complex simulation, hopefully, we're going to see, you know, people properly needing to commute to different places, taking transport there and back. You know, all of the sort of stuff that you know, that means you're able to simulate people and able to simulate their lives, you know, with less cheese than the first one, so to speak. Either way, tram depots, yep, definitely very, very important. In this specific example, trams are playing a very, very big part. I'm happy with that. I like me some trams. I like the fact that we're able to see exactly what is going on here. We can adjust the ticket price on the tram lines. We can, you know, assign more vehicles, fewer vehicles, and we can actually visually represent the tram lines with color, much like you're able to do in the first game as well. Also worth noting, there's a little schedule button here, a daytime and a nighttime tram sort of system, stats for the line, 5 stops, 0 passengers, line usage, etc. Tram line length. I like that. More information being presented to the player, I think, is always a good thing. Right, we've got a lovely lot of skyscrapers here. Was that a visually significant? That, I mean, it's a visually stunning sort of scene. Is it visually significant in the way that it perhaps presents any new information? Potentially, but I mean, it just looks absolutely gorgeous. I have no idea sort of the number of housing models that are going to be in City Skylines 2 versus City Skylines 1, but you've got to imagine that there's probably going to be more. It sort of looks like, from a city skyline vantage point, that the skyline is going to be more diverse and more interesting. We've got a little thin sort of skyscraper over to the left-hand side of the screen. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see this. Graphs and data also looks to be sort of presented slightly differently as well. Number of residents currently living in this building. We got a nice little pie chart thing over here. Looks like we're still keeping the same sort of upgrade system. Average wealth, residence, etc., happiness overall, that is similar. So that is cool too. We also have look at this. This is very, very important. We've got some power plants. And there's a lot to sort of break down here. With regards to this specific power plant. First of all, we got all of the stats. Again, on the left-hand side, we got ground pollution, air pollution, and noise pollution, all of which are high in a coal power plant. That's understandable. Storing coal, that is going to be a consideration that you're going to have to take into account. And it also looks like there are some upgrades that can be made to this specific coal power plant. Let's have a little look. Let's scroll back just a little bit. Yeah, and it looks like that upgrade is something that you build rather than sort of placing an edict on the district, for example. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, what different sort of upgrades you can make to a coal power plant to perhaps make things more efficient in that regard too. So looking forward to seeing how that all works out. We've got air pollution over here. Air pollution looks to be a sort of bigger focus. We've got a very diverse way of sort of breaking down exactly what's happening in the air pollution world. Air pollution sources, traffic air pollution, and wind speed and direction. That's also cool. And also, just look at how cool this looks. Look at how cool all of these overlays look. That is fantastic. We missed a good one there. We've got a little police overview here. We can see what we've got going on. Police buildings, prisons, police cars, prison vans, etc. Crime probability. Look at all of this information and look at all of these overlays. Looks very, very sharp. Looks to be much more smartly presented than the first game, which is pretty nice indeed. If we skip forward to an overview that I think we will all be looking at quite a lot over the next wee while. Then we can have a little look at the traffic flow. We can see we've got the traffic flow, and we've also got traffic volume, which we can also overlay on top here. Average traffic flow, depending on the time of day. Look at that. That's a lovely little graph. I like that, and that is what makes me optimistic that perhaps traffic is going to be simulated in a slightly more intelligent way than the first one. I like this. I like how it varies at different times of the day. Very, very, very cool indeed. This is the second example that I have that we are going to have brand new, or I should say, stuff that was included in DLC as base game in City Skylines 2. This is the Industries DLC, and this is basically a whole bunch of lumber, a whole bunch of tree stuff, which is great, and that means that we're going to be able to hopefully play with this sort of straight from the get-go, which I'm very, very excited for. Your cities are going to feel, much more alive. You're going to take a much more active interest in developing the sort of key industries for your city. I think that is really, really important, and they're going to go on journeys all over the map, delivering a whole bunch of resources. So yeah, that is, I think, most of the sort of little secrets and little bits and bobs that you can find in the Cities Skylines 2 gameplay trailer. And also, of course, I should mention, it's coming October 24th, which is, I mean, just the greatest news. I thought we would have to wait until later on in the year, but October 24th sounds fantastic to me. That is really, really, really great news. So along with the brand new gameplay trailer, the website has also been updated, which is great. Means that there's a whole bunch of extra information on here. We can see the release date here, as well as watch the trailer, as well as see a little bit of extra information. There are some development diaries that are coming. Road tools, traffic AI. So interested to see what happens. There. Public cargo and transportation. Also very interested to see how that ends up working out. We also get a little bit of extra information with regards to the development timeline. We'll get the base game, San Francisco set, beach properties and asset pack, deluxe, relax station, the radio station, I've got to imagine, urban promenades, modern architecture, soft rock radio, and then in Q2 of 2024, the bridges and ports, I presume, paid expansion is going to be coming, which is very, very exciting indeed. The process of announcing an expansion before the base game is even released, I guess, is just sort of what happens these days, but at least that is what we've got to look forward to. If the base game includes, all of the DLC in City Skylines 1, which I think it looks like it probably will, then I think, to be honest, we're going to have a lot to explore in the base game before we even get to bridges and ports. That doesn't even include all of the mods, which I'm sure are going to start popping up over the course of time. There's a little bit more information here. There's a few additional screenshots. Deep simulation, AI and intricate economics means your choices ripple through the fabric of your city. I mean, that's corporate mumbo jumbo. I don't know what that means. Again, traffic people. I hope that they're sort of more intelligent in terms of the fact, in terms of the way that they interact with the city. I love the overviews. I love how this looks. I can't wait to build cities this big. It really, really, really is. It really is great. Higher and wider. Now you can build sky high and sprawl across the map like never before. I think that's going to really sort of focus up on the upgrade system, that little points thing that's down in the bottom left-hand corner. I think that is really, really, really important. I think that's gonna form a major way to play the game and just build bigger cities than you've ever been able to build before. Cities that come alive. Yeah, okay, all right, that's fine. A dynamic world. Pick a map to set the climate of your city. Natural forces that you'll negotiate. I mean, we better have natural disasters. There's been no sign of them so far. However, I've got to imagine that given how popular they were in the first one, natural disasters will be in the game for sure. Yeah, a few more sort of screenshots here, gameplay screenshots. Nothing major, but again, it looks really, really impressive. These cities just feel so... Look at how real this whole thing looks. It looks great. It looks really, really nice. What a lovely bridge. Again, a little bit of a focus on transport there. Oh man, look at this. Look at this. I can't wait. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see what we've got here. Physical editions, yep, and then you can sign up for the newsletter. So yeah, that's it. That's a little cap of exactly what the heck is going on in Cities Skylines 2. I'm really, really excited for this. The fact that the release date has been announced is yet another reason to get excited. I can't wait. But yeah, for now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you ever so much for watching. My name, of course, has been Orbital Potato. Check out the Patreon if indeed you're interested in helping make videos like this possible. But for now, and for me, I'll see you next time. Bye.